Hi guys, it's Chris with City Girl Homestead and time for supper. Tom's overtime has gotten canceled, so they got out at 1, so I'm getting a little bit of a late start. That's okay. So tonight I have some sweet potatoes that I need to use up, so we're going to do that, do a recipe with that, and get them used up. And hopefully it turns out really good. If not, well, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to dice up our sweet potatoes. And I've got some water over here, and we're going to boil them till they're tender. It says to use 2 medium sweet potatoes, but I think these are pretty small, so I don't think that I used 4. I think it'll be fine, hopefully. I told Tom this recipe works out good because now I don't need leftovers for tomorrow for him to take to work. So that works out good. Because I always try to make enough for the next day. Alright, so while I'm chopping these up, we went to AJ's concert. It was about pajamas and stuff. It was pretty cool. He had both sets of grandparents there, and Courtney's best friend, her mom, she watched AJ when he was first born, and she takes them out on dates and stuff too, and she was there as well with her best friend. And I told Tom this morning, I said, I don't think the kids realize how lucky they are that they have their own little village, because you know they have several of us that are there for them no matter what, you know what I mean? And so that's a good thing. We had a hard time actually seeing AJ because he was far left, and everybody kind of had their heads turned that way, so it was kind of hard to see him. But I did get a couple little small videos, but he did really good. They have, I couldn't believe how many second graders that school has. They have quite a few. They separate them up, you know, during concert time, so they'll do like a 3rd grade and a 4th grade, as well as a 2nd grade, but just different days. Because Tom even had to actually park across the street. So, yeah. But I'm glad to see that much parent participation. I know in Lansing, when Christopher first went to Lansing schools just for kindergarten, and they always would ask for parent volunteers, and they'd always end up canceling the field trips because the only people that volunteered was me and one of my daycare parents. So they had to cancel a lot of their stuff. When we moved the kids to Waverly schools, they always had 100% participation, which was great. And so like if I volunteered to go on a field trip, there'd only be, I'd have one of my sons plus maybe 2 other kids, if that. So now it also says we need a 1/4 cup of chopped red onion, and I'm sure this will be a little bit more than a 1/4 cup, but that's okay because I want to get it used up. I don't want that big centerpiece, so that takes a little bit out of it, doesn't it? My hands are bothering me really, really bad today, so my cutting skills are just atrocious. We may not have a dinner video tomorrow. I do have stuff to make it tomorrow, but if not, we'll do it on Sunday. Tom and I's anniversary is on Tuesday, but we're not sure if he's going to still be on 10s or if he'll be back to 8s or whatever, so we figured we'd do our anniversary dinner early so that we knew we wouldn't miss it. And I don't think we're going to do Chinese because I have a feeling that Nate's like, well, we could go out to dinner while I'm there. And he goes, you want Chinese? So I imagine he's going to take us to Chinese next Friday. So probably won't need Chinese this week. Although I could eat it every week. It'd be alright. Alright, so let me get everything else around that we need, and I can get that prepared while we're waiting for the potatoes to cook. Alright, so now we're going to add everything except for our potatoes until they're done. So we're going to put those onions in a bowl. That way I can get that out of the way too. And then we need a half a cup of frozen peas, which I don't know, I have probably a cup left. We're just going to use it up. That's from another recipe that I had. We're also going to use 1 5-ounce can of tuna that's been drained. If it wants to come out. I guess I drained it too hard. Alright. We also need a quarter a cup of mayonnaise. I should have gotten this stuff out first, but I didn't. So we need a quarter cup of mayo. Come on. I love these squeeze things, but then I hate them at the same time. There we go. I'll grab one of these to clean it out. Alrighty. Then we need a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And it's so funny, it expires today. I've only used it once. That's why I don't tend to buy it very often, because we just don't use it. So we need a tablespoon of that. I'm not much of a fan of Dijon mustard anyway. And we need a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we need salt and pepper to taste. And it says a quarter cup of cheese, which is optional. I have some mozzarella that's open in there, so I figured why not. We'll use it. We're just going to use a small handful. That's probably a quarter cup. Alrighty. So that's everything that it calls for. We're going to get that stirred up. And we're just going to wait for those potatoes to get done. If you haven't guessed yet, we're making sweet potato tuna casserole. And it'll be an all-one dish because there's even veggies in there. So I'll be back as soon as the potatoes are done. So now we're going to add those potatoes to it. And we're going to get that all stirred together. It says it's only 2 servings, but I don't know if I believe that or not. Seems like quite a bit of food for just 2 servings. But then maybe I added extra peas and, you know, more potatoes too. So we're going to put it in a greased smaller pan. I was going to use just a plain 8x8 pan, but I decided because I had added a few more potatoes and peas that I would use the thicker one because I don't want it going over the edge. Now, I didn't read properly, and it said you can put the shredded cheese on top. But I think it'll be just as good being on the inside as it is on top. So now we're going to put that in a 375 oven. And it says for 20 to 25 minutes. So I got it in there for 20. So we'll see. I just thought it was a good way to use up my frozen peas, use up that last bit of onion, and use up my sweet potatoes that needed to be used up. So, accomplishment. It wasn't completely out of the freezer, but that's okay too, because you know what? Other stuff has to be used up too. Even if you choose to do like your freezer route or whatever, make sure you always check your refrigerator, your pantry stuff that you need to get used up, and use it up. So I'll be back when it gets done. Tom should be home shortly after that. So yeah, I'll meet you at the table. Well, hi Tom.
Hello.
So now you don't have to work tomorrow, huh?
No, got tomorrow off.
Awesome. So there's Din Din. Give it a try.
That's pretty good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's sweet potato, tuna fish casserole. Yeah. So we didn't include any of AJ's pictures from last night because we didn't get any of them him alone, and there were several other children, and I don't feel comfortable posting a bunch of other people's kids. So he was cute in his little PJs and his little fluffy that he had to bring from home, but I just don't feel comfortable taking pictures of all the other kids. So, and believe me, that one lady's head was in the way of most of our pictures and video anyway.
Yeah, it sure was. Trying to do a video was almost impossible.
So
I had to hold my arm way up in the air to get it.
I know, me too. And then Tom
my
goes,
arm was tired.
and then Tom says, "I'm recording your video." Like, but he did look really cute. He did a great job, and we're really, really proud of him. So we've decided to do our anniversary dinner tomorrow. And Bronson doesn't really have anything I want on sale. Tom wanted another different, which one did you want? That steakhouse you said?
Home. I don't remember the name of it. Longhorn.
Longhorn. But anyway, for like $2 more, we could go to Ponderosa and have the whole buffet and then have, steak for dinner.
Platter, so, yeah.
And so we might go to either the one in Mount Pleasant or Clare. If we go to the one in Clare, we might go to the Amish Walmart and the other Amish store next door. The discount store, I don't go there much anymore because usually their stuff is really outdated.
Really outdated.
And so it's not as good as it used to be when it used to be over in Gladwin. So, but either way, yeah, we might go to one of those tomorrow. And if we do, we'll take you along with us. Because we got to thinking if we went to Bronson or to Coldwater, that's all we'd go there for. Where if we go up north, we can take a drive and, go by the lake.
Maybe I can get a nice garden rake over there.
Yeah, it could be. You would have such a hard time getting you out of that Amish Walmart store anyway, though.
No. I mean,
Yeah. Yes, you. But
cool stuff in there.
it does. So anyways, you guys have a blessed night. Be a blessing. And goodbye, Tom.
Goodbye, Tom.
And I guess you guys will see tomorrow where we decided to go. Have a great night.